Do you know that even though you are living your life, you're not the one who is actually driving what is happening in your life? Do you know that there are actually three versions of yourself which are fighting with each other because you do not have the awareness of them? Do you know that not too long ago, I was also in the same position and I found my way out? And that is exactly what we are going to discuss in today's video. I want you to imagine this. Imagine that you have got a job, you are 6 months into it, everything looks good on paper, you are getting good salary, your parents are happy with you, society is happy with you, you're getting the designation of your dreams. But then all of a sudden, you have this dreading feeling. You have this gut punch feeling wherein you realize that this job probably is not for you. Wherein you realize that probably you are made for something bigger. But because of good salary, proud parents, and the prospect of a stable future, you just do not have the courage to take any action. Even though you're constantly feeling that sensation that whatever costume you're wearing right now, it's kind of suffocating you. And you know what is the worst part of all this scenario? It's that nothing is wrong. But still, you cannot explain it to others why it all feels so wrong to you. And I felt exactly like this when I was 24 years old in my engineering job, and I was not in that job for 6 months. I was in there for 6 years, and every single year, this feeling, this dread, this suffocation just kept on increasing for me. And while I was reflecting a lot on my life at that point of time, I was ruminating, I was pondering on this thought that what am I doing so wrong? I just couldn't help but wonder how many of our decisions that we take in a day to day life are actually impacted by others. I was constantly questioning myself that if it's my life, then how many of the decisions that I'm taking to run this life are actually mine? Like, if I scraped off my parents' expectations, society's this script, the narrative of being a good Indian daughter, who was I beneath all of that? Who was I truly? And the biggest question there was not that I need to figure out who I was. The biggest question was that could I even figure out at the age of 24? Hi friends, I'm Twinkle, and this is chapter 2 of my Brainy Baddie book, wherein we are discovering how to be a brainy as well as a baddie while not losing ourselves and discovering our best selves in the process. And in today's chapter, we are going to touch base on the themes like identity crisis, people pleasing, family expectations, quarter life crisis, and also finding yourselves in your 20s. If you know me, you already know that whenever I reflect on questions like this, I do not just come from my personal experiences. I would like to go down the rabbit hole and actually dive deep into the researches. The scholar in me wants to understand, has this topic been discussed before? What are people's thoughts about it? And while I was discussing this topic of finding yourself in your 20s and scraping off the society's expectations, I found quite a bit interesting research which I want to share with you. And if you'll stick till the end of this video, you are going to understand the concept of inherited identity versus chosen identity, 3 layers of conditioning, how most people can never separate their layers of conditioning, and then my framework of identity audit that can help you to actually understand who your identity truly is. And this is not just an hypothesis that I've come up with. This framework is actually the framework that I use with my clients before we touch anything in their life, whether it's their content, its strategy, or anything. We do this audit. So let's get into it. Now, I want to tell you about this psychologist called Higgins. Higgins did some research. In his research, he found out that at any given point of time, a human being is carrying 3 layers of themselves, namely who we are, who we want to be, and who we ought to be. And even though we can always identify who we are and who we want to be, who we ought to be is never identified by us. It is a script that society hands on to us. It is a set of responsibilities, a set of behavior that has been given to us by our parents or our grandparents or our friends or the societies we are brought up in. Now, without even knowing about this research at the time when I was 24, I actually did the same thing unknowingly. So when I was in that engineering job, I took out a paper and I actually divided that paper into 2 parts. One part was who I wanted to be, and the other one was who my parents wanted me to be. And when you do this exercise, it is very uncomfortable because in most cases you will realize that the gap between who you want to be and who you ought to be is huge. And when there is a huge gap, in between that gap, there lies feelings of guilt, anxiety, obligation, and you will always feel like you're constantly failing in a test which you never signed up for. But to overcome this, what you need to do, and this is the exercise that I want you to do, is that you need to identify when there is this gap that is existing, what are the actions that you can take to be more aligned with yourself, to be more aligned with your identity. And no, by any means, I'm not saying that you need to reject everything that your parents taught you. You need to just go bullocks. You need to just scrape everything off. I'm just pleading you to ask yourself this question, whether what they are assigning you and what you want to become are even aligned with each other. And if they are not, then what could you do about it? Changing yourself from your odd self to who you want to be or who you truly are is going to be a very difficult journey. And let me tell you why. It is because your odd self is so much embedded into your identity. This odd self is installed into us in our childhood. Our parents always tell us how to behave, how to eat our meals, how to dress, how to talk to people, and you cannot just get rid of that sort of conditioning in a year or so. It takes constant conscious practice, and most people are unable to do that. And it is also because, in most cases, when children try to express themselves truly as they are, their parents becomes the first one to suppress that. For example, there is a kid who loves to draw. They would want to draw their entire lives, but because in our society, arts is not something that will provide you a stable job. So your parents would probably push you towards more stable career paths like engineering, medical, and then what is the child supposed to do? The child then, in all their sense, develops a second self which they think will be accepted by their parents. The self whose costume fits very well into the society. And if you dive deep into these researches, you know what you will realize? That the second self we develop, it is only developed for the purpose of getting love. And no, again, I am not just rambling about it. There's another research about it. There's a psychoanalyst called Winnicott who said that when children learn that their authentic self is not acceptable, they build a false self, a performing self, the one that keeps them safe and loved. And when I was reading this, I thought that I did the same. I was in the same position. And then my mind just started cross-checking how many of my friends also did the same thing for the longest time possible. It is because the false self that you build, it is for the purpose of survival and not expression. And when we keep living into this zone of our false self, the lines between our true self and our false self starts getting blurred. And that is exactly the time when you must have seen people expressing themselves and say that, and I quote, "I truly do not know who am I anymore." That's sad, isn't it? And the same thing was happening with me when I was doing that engineering job. I was trying to become the good daughter. And despite anything, I was just trying to maintain that rapport because that became my survival strategy. And you know, while I was researching about this, one thing that I read made me ick was that when you are living in your false self, you actually become a person who is always high functioning, person who always gets good grades, makes their parent proud, looks completely sorted, and becomes that child for whom the parents said, "Oh, we never had to worry about you." And yes, that was me, guilty as charged, because my real self was hiding somewhere. But again, we are not talking in extremes here. I'm not telling you to tear apart your false self. You can't do that. I'm just making you aware about these concepts so that you understand that these things exist and your false self does not become the one who's running your life. Because I have performed in accordance to my false self for long enough to know that it is not going to serve you well. You are just going to degrade the quality of your life. You're just going to resent all the people around you. Probably you're even going to resent your family, and that is not a good feeling to carry. So it's better to always find yourself, express yourself. So it's better to always test the waters you are in and see how much freedom you can create for yourself to express yourself authentically. Because as I'm saying that the longer you perform with your false self, the lines between your false self and your true self is only going to be blurred. And you can never create a new identity in those scenarios because you will never understand who you truly want to be. And the tricky thing about our brain, the neuroscience, is that the longer you perform the false self, the more your brain will start to believe that it is not false anymore, it is who you are. And I have talked about rewiring our brains enough on this channel, but again, bringing forward a research, Festinger ran this wild experiment wherein he discovered that our brains will quietly rewire the beliefs that we hold just to match the actions that we are taking. It is not the other way around. And why would our brain do that? Because our brain hates contradiction. It hates that feeling of discomfort. And that is why it is so dangerous to be performing a version that is not exactly you. Because if you do it for long enough, your brain will eventually convince you that that is who you are. And then if you are convinced that way, how are you even going to discover who you truly were meant to be. Now, if you have made this far in the video, you already understand the differences between the three versions of yourself that you are carrying at any given point of time. Now, let me explain it to you how your identity audit would work. First thing you are going to do is you are going to list down all the things that your odd self has been taught. So, list down the ways that how your parents have asked you to behave, what sort of job scenarios you are being told you are safe, what age you should marry, what beliefs you should be forming, what principles and values you should be carrying in your life, and all these things. Go into the details. Next thing I want you to do is discover who you truly are. So, I want you to compare your odd self with who you are today. Compare these two things, find the gaps between them. And while you're finding the gaps between them, also identify the actions that you're going to take to close that gap. Because I know that there are a lot of videos already existing on the platform which tells you about how to close the gap between who you are and who you want to be, but none of the videos actually touch base on the topic that there is also an odd self which you probably were not even aware about until this point. So first step is to close the gap between your odd self and who you truly are. And then from there, once you have closed that gap, once you have understood who you truly are, then we go from who you truly are to who you want to become. That is the identity audit. That is what you need to do if you want to change your life. And let me tell you one more thing. While you'll be doing this audit, you will be understanding that how you can change these things. You might even start taking actions. The proof that you're watching this video means you want to change your life for good, means you will go ahead and take the actions. And when you will be taking these actions to change yourself, your parents, your family, your friends will be the first one who would want to pull you back. It's simply because your loved ones are the ones who have built this cage for you. And this cage of this odd self, this safe self, is not built to trap you in any way. They probably don't even know what they're doing with you. It's just that they want to protect you. But if you want to take anything away from this video, understand that protection and possibility of life do not go hand in hand. If you want to explore all the possibilities, all the potentials, you have to let go of the protection. And to be completely honest with you, I still do this audit all the times whenever there is a decision that I have to take or something new is happening into my life. I always ask, is this decision aligned with who I want to be? And if it's not, then no matter how hard it is, I have to let go of that idea. It's only by the awareness of things you can truly go ahead and change things. So now here's what I want you to do. I want you to do this identity audit. I want you to pick up an area of your life and then start listing out the gaps between your odd self, your true self, and your future self. And trust me, it is going to be a very liberating exercise. I can vouch for it because this is the first exercise I do whenever I start consulting any of my clients. Before we touch their content strategy, before we start showing up online, we always do the identity audit. Because you can never build a good online persona if you don't truly understand who you are, if your foundations are not clear. And once you do this audit, you will start seeing that which parts of your personality are the ones that you have borrowed and which parts are actually real. But only seeing them is not going to change anything, because your brain will not let you change things overnight. It is going to push back hard. It is operating in one single manner for all these years, and you cannot just change it within a couple of minutes. You need to give it dedicated time, and that is exactly what I'm going to cover in chapter number 3, where I will discuss how I reprogrammed my identity in 90 days. I'll give you a step-by-step plan, so make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, and I will see you next week.